What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA playoffs. Wednesday, June 16th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. We have a 2-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Trae Young has averaged 43.1 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 33% usage rate. He scored 58, 43, and 40 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 36, and 37 minutes. So he's playing monster minutes, and he's projected at 52 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 10,400 FanDuel salary, and he's 500 less on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223.5 points scored in this game, so I like Trae Young here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, if you're looking to save a little salary at the point guard position, take a look at Reggie Jackson from the LA Clippers. He averaged 19.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 23 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He scored 10, 26, and 35 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 29, and 36 minutes. He's projected at 24 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 4,800 FanDuel salary and 300 more on DraftKings. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game. So both of these games have pretty similar game totals. So I don't think I'm going to stack any team here tonight. I'm going to go with a balanced approach. So I like Reggie Jackson here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, now if you're looking for a sleeper pick here, take a look at Patrick Beverley from the LA Clippers. And he averaged 18.2 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 22 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He scored 24, 11, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 20, 16, and 20 minutes. Now he's projected at 18 fantasy points here tonight. On FanDuel, that's only 4.7 times value because he's 3,800 FanDuel salary, but he's 800 less on DraftKings. So I think he makes a pretty nice DraftKings play here tonight, especially if he's going to get close to 20 minutes. I think he can easily hit value on DraftKings. I think he's a good sleeper pick. So I like Patrick Beverley here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz playing the LA Clippers. Donovan Mitchell has averaged 40.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 34% usage rate. He scored 49, 46, and 44 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 32, and 38 minutes. So he's been benefiting with Mike Conley out. His usage rate has gone way up. His usage rate last game was 46%, and it was 40 and 41% the 2 games before that. So if Mike Conley is out again, you got to consider Donovan Mitchell. He's projected at 48 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 9,700 FanDuel salary, and he's 700 less on DraftKings. So with Mike Conley out, if he is out here tonight, I like Donovan Mitchell here versus the LA Clippers. Okay, another shooting guard that I like. This guy's been playing pretty well lately. I like Joe Ingles from the Utah Jazz playing the LA Clippers. Joe Ingles has averaged 24.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He scored 30, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 28, and 32 minutes. He's projected at 28.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 5,800 FanDuel salary, and he's 600 less on DraftKings. So I like Joe Ingles here versus the LA Clippers. And the other shooting guards that I like Seth Curry. He's projected at 25 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,100 FanDuel salary. He's 100 less on DraftKings. I also like Paul George, and I like Furkan Korkmaz. He's projected at 20 fantasy points here tonight. He's 4,300 FanDuel salary, and he's 500 less on DraftKings. So lots of options at the shooting guard position. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Kawhi Leonard from the LA Clippers playing the Utah Jazz. Kawhi Leonard has averaged 44.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He scored 51, 63, and 36 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 37, and 38 minutes. He's projected at 54 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 11,000 FanDuel salary, and he's 1,300 less on DraftKings. So I love that DraftKings price. So I like Kawhi Leonard here versus the Utah Jazz.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on.
Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, another small forward that's been playing pretty well lately. Take a look at Nicholas Batum from the LA Clippers playing the Utah Jazz. He averaged 21 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with a 12% usage rate, but he scored 33, 30, and 23 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32, 35, and 27 minutes. He's projected at 29 fantasy points here tonight. Now on FanDuel, that's only 4.7 times value, so I'm probably not going to play him on FanDuel. He's 6,200 FanDuel salary, but he's 1,600 less on DraftKings. So I love that DraftKings price. So I like Nicholas Batum on DraftKings here versus the Utah Jazz. So I'd probably play Bojan Bogdanovic on FanDuel over Nicholas Batum if you're looking to save some salary. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Philadelphia 76ers. John Collins has averaged 31.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He scored 35, 28, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 33, and 34 minutes. He's projected at 33 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 6,600 FanDuel salary, and he's 600 less on DraftKings. So I like John Collins here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Another power forward that I like is Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Atlanta Hawks. Tobias Harris has averaged 36.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He scored 31, 38, and 39 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 38, and 36 minutes. So he's playing monster minutes. He's projected at 39.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's 8,100 FanDuel salary and the same price on DraftKings. So I like Tobias Harris here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, now if you want to save some salary at the power forward position, take a look at a guy like Royce O'Neal from the Utah Jazz. He scored 19, 26, and 16 fantasy points in the last 3 games. But the reason I like this pick is because he's playing a ton of minutes. He played 36, 35, and 40 minutes in the last 3 games. He's projected at 23.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. He's 5,000 FanDuel salary and 100 less on DraftKings. So I like Royce O'Neal here versus the LA Clippers. And the other power forward that I like is Marcus Morris from the LA Clippers playing the Utah Jazz. Marcus Morris has scored 36, 13, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 21, and 37 minutes. He's projected at 25 fantasy points here tonight. Now on FanDuel, that's only 4.5 times value because he's 5,600 FanDuel salary, but he's 1,100 less on DraftKings. So I like that DraftKings price. So I like Marcus Morris here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Atlanta Hawks. Joel Embiid has averaged 49.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 36% usage rate. He scored 44, 61, and 65 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 33, and 34 minutes. He's projected at 53.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 10,800 FanDuel salary, and he's 300 less on DraftKings. So I like Joel Embiid here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, now I think this guy is a steal on DraftKings. Take a look at Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz playing the LA Clippers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 40.5 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He scored 24, 29, and 49 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 29, and 36 minutes. So he hasn't played that well the past couple of games, but he's projected at 41.6 fantasy points here tonight. Even on FanDuel, that's 5.2 times value. He's 8,000 FanDuel salary, and he's 600 less on DraftKings. So I like Rudy Gobert here versus the LA Clippers. And another center that I think is really well priced or low priced is Clint Capella from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Philadelphia 76ers. Clint Capella has averaged 40 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He scored 32, 39, and 18 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 28, and 27 minutes. He's projected at 35 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 7,100 FanDuel salary and 400 less on DraftKings. So I like Clint Capella here versus the Philadelphia 76ers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.